just like this one game. And TMK, why don't you introduce our first player here?
In the top left-hand side, we have the red Protoss player playing for mYi. We have Stardust.
And in the bottom right-hand side, we have the blue Zerg playing for Vega Squadron. It is FireCake, the probably most tasty kind of cake. Is it tastiest or most tasty?
Dude, it's the tastiest cake, but you will regret it later on, man, because you know what I'm talking about, man. You will regret it, and it's pretty fiery, pretty spicy, you know.
A spicy
but, you know
meatball.
Let's do the GSL intros from now on, man, because we do have the legendary player over here in Stardust, DreamHack Winter, beating out the Tyrant. And yeah, this guy is good, man. Me gusta.
He's good indeed, I gotta be honest with you, and he's also a super nice guy if you didn't know. Like, probably on a scale from like that super nasty guy to day 9, Stardust would be even above day 9.
Yeah, man, I mean,
and that
we all
means
know
something.
how Day Knight can be a little bit BM with his hugs, man, because he always tends to it's just the hands tend to get a bit too low, man. Pretty BM, but yeah. Stardust hugs are always at the shoulders, man. That's how pro he is, man. Mannered.
He's BM with his hugs.
Yes.
That is a statement right there for you. Anyway, so as I said, we have Stardust kind of going for the more defensive route here. As the ramp, you can see it even in person this time. It is huge. Like,
oh man, what is that little red thing? Like, what's that red thing over there with the exclamation mark?
It is some danger. I don't even want to know. Probably like some sort of nuclear reactor. It has even a siren if you listen closely.
Oh wow, like my sound is really low, but I just love the way that StarCraft, like, as far as doodads go and stuff, it's always like bringing something new that you haven't seen before. Like, remember on Habitation Station, we have actually seen an impaled Ultralisk. It's like, whoa.
Of course, this map.
Oh, actually,
what?
Look at that. Oh, actually, never mind. My bad. I thought this was actually like the third base placement instead of like the natural, but my bad.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Like, why would you do that in third base? No, of course, eventually Stardust is going to scout. He was not really going for something like a pylon scout to kind of be a nuisance about like trying to pylon block, just because that's usually something you would do if you went for Nexus first, or maybe a little bit of quick expansion.
Ooh.
But oh, look at that. That's actually a very peculiar play, because you usually would expect him to go for something like a gateway expansion, if at all. But he's not even gonna do that. He's just straight up gonna go for the Stargate here. And FireCake, he's so close to scouting this already.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now Stardust is like Bay Life, but FireCake moved that Overlord in the other direction. Does not choose to do so, and it looks like splits up one of the two Zerglings here. FireCake just to save the other one, and I think that Overlord will float in later. But oh, here we go. It's floating. She is floating.
It is gently levitating.
Oh, the timing. The timing, man. That Stargate has finished, so there's no chance to cancel. He sees the Oracle as well. And how will FireCake respond?
Ooh. That Oracle is actually an interesting choice, because usually you would go for Phoenix, because that's just the most elegant way of opening up with a Stargate. When you play Oracle, you're always kind of in this position where you have to beg or to hope almost that FireCake is kind of effing up, because usually you're not gonna get like too many kills. I say usually.
Oh.
There is a great
unless
potential.
you have like 6 oracles that just randomly come into your base and you're like, where did these come from? And everything dies! Everything dies! So, yeah, following it up with the Phoenix, I like the fact that he only made 1 oracle. I think the oracle is somewhat viable in this matchup. As we've seen, it just forced out a couple of spore crawlers. As a lot of players would kind of opt for queens, but just as a pure defense. Oh! Picks off a few drones as well! Will get away, just taking a little bit of hull damage. As you can see, these oracles, man, they're made of cardboard. Will try and poke into the main, but saves it. And it looks like, for the time being at least, FireCake is supply blocked, as I believe the Overlord in the main got sniped.
I totally think so as well, because right now we have the Phoenix follow-up, and as I said previously, Phoenix are just amazing. And I just love them in general. because, well, there might be spore crawlers and queens in the mineral lines. Well, they don't even care. They just zip on in there, lift up a couple of probes, and immediately get out of there again without really taking any damage. Maybe shield damage at most.
Yeah. Yeah, as we all know, these phoenixes are powered by honey badgers, and honey badgers, they just don't care, man. They just do what honey badgers do. More spore crawlers have been popped. I've got a feeling here, Elmo, that FireCake, after seeing this, would be going for that mid-game swarm post strat.
Could very well be true, because right now we have the roaches coming up. And that definitely could later on lead into something like a swarm host play, as you said. And also Protoss, like, Protoss probably is the race, maybe next to Terran, where swarm host play actually works out. Because against the Zerg, it's kind of iffy, especially if you have swarm host versus swarm host, like as it was in the beta of Heart of the Swarm, where everyone was like, yeah, swarm hosts, I gotta build them. So you had like swarm host versus swarm host in ZVZ, and it was just iffy, as well. It's basically like Broodlord versus Broodlord, just a little bit less interesting.
Yeah, it's like, look at those brood wars just float next to each other, man. They can't attack each other. But it looks like some nice pickoffs here as he's found a chink in FireCake's armor, picking up a lot of drones. 10 drones so far. Maybe just 7 actually, as the Oracle did do quite a bit of damage. But all these are actually just really helping because it's slowing down FireCake's economy, man.
And by the way, just I want to point out the wall off that Stardust is kind of going for here. Indeed, he's walling from the choke to the Nexus, not like this. So that's actually cool. That's like so old school if you think of the really old maps you were always forced to do that. But here we go once again, the Phoenix coming into the main here, almost losing one of them. But oh, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah,
an infestation pit.
I like it. I mean, on this particular map, even Stardust knows what's up, man. As we do see that he has opted for the robotics bay, and of course the support, like the facility into bay. And I wouldn't be surprised after the third base has been set up that he will go for even another robotics once he confirms that there will be swarm hosts. As here we go, swarm hosts about to plop down, man. Enduring Locust is also being researched.
Yeah, and that is a great play, of course, with Stardust immediately going for the Colossi. He's gonna have pretty much the perfect answer to that right away. But still, swarm hosts, they can be tricky to deal with, as they just generate units for you.
Yeah, just look at the creep highway already, nearly halfway across the map. You'll basically want to spread it out till the third of Stardust, and then siege up with spores and spines, and just keep like throwing free units away. This, of course, makes him quite vulnerable to backstabs in the form of Warp Prism, Zealot, Warp-ins, or even like plays like this, just a Zealot run by. Third base is under siege. There are no ground units, only now plopping out in the form of roaches. A lot of queens have been pulled, and these queens do have transfuse, so they will be able to deal with these. Oh, actually, no, brings his phoenixes just to push it back as well. And at the end of the day, both players just not really doing anything to each other.
No, I mean, he was kind of doing some damage. That's not on about to 50% of
Actually,
okay,
I've got something to like just throw at you, right? Here's the thought. We do see a very, very fast hive, right? We do see a spire.
Yeah.
So do you think there's a possibility that either you'll go for that crazy J-Donk style 50 meta play, or he'll go for 3 base or 4 base, actually now since there's a 4 base ultra play? Because considering what's on the field for Stardust, having ultras just suddenly barreling down, even with just like the normal carapace upgrades, they can do quite a bit of damage.
Actually, I think the muted switch in this kind of scenario is very, very likely. Just because by now, FireCake, now he definitely knows, but beforehand he could have known that there's super great potential for Stardust to have Colossi. And, well, obviously you don't want to get go Corruptors against Colossi anymore, because there's always usually gonna hang around some Void Rays, and those Void Rays will just tear apart your Corruptors. So we could very, very well see a kind of a muteless transition to just deal with those Colossi, but still on the other hand have some Swarm Hosts out to kind of deal the damage as after the No way. after the
my
Colossi
goodness.
are gone. You know what it's gonna be?
Oh my
3
goodness, I
units
can't
for
believe it.
days.
Wow, I can't believe it, man. I mean, normally when you spot the spire like the Stargate, you don't normally go for Greater Spire, but he's like double. This is like a double bluff right now, and I think he may go for surprise Broodlords, where it's suddenly you just put your Corruptors behind a base, and then you morph them into Broodlords, and then you immediately snipe the base. So good. So do you think these Swarm Ults will just be used for defense, like purely?
Could be. Not sure though. He might just eventually, with the Broodlords and the Swarm Hosts in composition, or in combination, siege up Stardust. Like, I mean, if you have like Swarm Hosts and Broodlords, you're basically gonna have the ultimate 3-unit composition. Maybe a couple of Vessels here and
Backstab, warping in the main. That's a lot of Zealots warping
is a
in the
ton of
main. The
Zealots.
Natural is also under siege. There's a lot of Spines about to complete. They're not going to be done. And he force fields the ramp. All these Queens, they're wobbling, but they can't get in. Roaches can't get in either. Another force field goes down. This is really painful to watch.
And
oh
note,
my
those
goodness.
sentries were actually not warped in, they already have a ton of energy, so they can force field for days. And now the Hive is under fire, and obviously FireCake does not want to lose that Hive. Force field might just be renewed once again. There are a couple of roaches out, so they will buy FireCake just ever so slightly some time. But oh, the War Prison does go down, which cuts off the reinforcement path. And eventually the force fields will run out and the sentries will die, as well as the Zealots here. But I'm kind of curious to see. I mean, that Hive has 2,500 damage. I don't think he's gonna kill that, but at least he will kill off a lot of workers there.
Yeah, of course, talking about HP, if the Hive has that much damage, it would just be obscene. You just want to like get a Hive in your opponent's base and let it kill your opponent outright. But it looks like this attack has been completely taken apart, and now Stardust is on the move at the north side of the base. North side looks like he will attempt to snipe this base. And where are the Spine Crawlers? Only one over here.
Well, immediately the drones are evacuated. FireCake knows, well, this base probably gonna go down, and yes, it does fall down, which means that Stardust actually now on, well, almost, well, basically even bases, maybe even almost ahead here in this kind of scenario, as his 4th base is already up and just has to be saturated here, and he'll be perfectly fine. So that is actually a very, very cool play so far by Stardust, and he's definitely maneuvering himself into a very nice position. And behind of that, we even have the triple Stargate going down. So Stardust already preparing for what could be coming out of FireCake here.
Yeah, no beacon on the field as of yet in the form of a fleet beacon, but you know, I kind of don't like the Greater Spire play. I think that Ultralists would have been a better choice, because just the Colossus just don't do as much damage versus Ultralists. Now, there, of course, the Broodlords have been scouted, and oh, nice pickoff, saves the one Zealot, and we'll get out of there like a smooth criminal. But meanwhile, in the center of the map, there is a massive engagement about to take place. Nice transfuse, look at that immortal Spine Crawler, even topping off the other Spine Crawlers, like, no, you're bleeding, bro. And now these Zealots being so very irritating in the background, doing so much damage here to the drones.
At the same time, we once again have the War Prism coming into the main base. It will unload a handful of Zealots here. What are they going to do? They're trying to snipe the pool! That only has 1,000 HP, but here comes the Broodlords. Of course, they are very slow.
Yeah, man.
But still,
Defensive Broodlords.
are they gonna get
So
there in
good.
time? I totally would think so. But that spawning
just
pool
look at
later
the
on might
damage.
be a potential weakness, and yes, I just like to play here, going for a second spawning pool. But we have still a handful of Zealots here, and they're just being an absolute nuisance. Also the Phoenix now once again showing up, lifting up a couple of workers, and so far Stardust playing a beautiful game in terms of harasses here. 49 workers
wow.
have been killed so far. Holy moly.
Oh my goodness, FireCake playing really, really well as well. I know some of the Vipers nearly going down. Enough Queens were on the ground though to snipe it, and oh, there seems to be a lot of swarm. Are those locusts moving in the south part of the map? Like
Yeah,
that big
is
force of blue. Yep.
locusts, but they will eventually die, of course. I mean, that War Prism right now is in a kind of an awkward position, because you have like Broodlords all over you. Like, you have to imagine the War Prism.
Oh, he's gonna
right
pull
now.
it! Oh, that would have been so sick if he actually got a pull from with his Vipers. But it looks like this is a game of cat and also cat. But I feel that Stardust, he just needs to sack some of that supply, get up some more Tempests, and he should be in a great position because he does have that 4th base.
Well, call me crazy, but I think those 2 Tempests might already be enough because he still has a ton of Void Rays. And once those Corruptors that he still has remaining are out of the way, those Void Rays might just very well take out those Broodlords as quickly as those Tempests. Of course, you eventually want to have a couple of them there to kind of be efficiently able to deal with them, even though those Void Rays might get fungal or something like that, to kind of have some super high-ranged backup plan.
Oh, a platoon of roaches have been sent to the natural, just trying to buy some time. Will eventually get picked off, but they're on a one-way trip, man. And of course, at the 3rd, there was also a bit of a backstab. Nice play here.
Oh, but the storm drops!
Oh, the storms! 55 worker kills in total. Oh my goodness, that was brutal, man.
I'm so sorry, I just catch the very ending there, but we saw the storms go off and a lot of drones just ended up dying there. So far, as you said, 55 drone kills, and Stardust, he's still not done with his massive giant Protostaff ball, is now slowly but steadily going to move all over the map and will take out the bases of FireCake here. And this is usually like a super scary scenario for the Zerg, because you definitely want to avoid the Protoss getting into or getting this kind of composition that you call a death ball. It's called a death ball for a reason.
Yep. And with that, it's like both players are still on even bases. So right now, FireCake, he needs to secure those extra bases, man. Otherwise, in this war of attrition, slowly but surely, Stardust is just building advantages.
I think he already has a distinct advantage here, just because, like, for the whole part of this game, FireCake, first of all, was not really harassing him, he was not really killing any workers, and also not the bases, while Stardust, he was harassing FireCake all over the place, was kind of therefore hurting his income and also taking out bases left, right, and center. And right now, if you have a look at it, it's 5 for Stardust to just only 4 for FireCake here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just look at the upgrades. Look at the gateways as well. He's going to be able to remax quite fast. Already up to, oh my goodness, that's a lot of gateways. Up to 9 warp gates with 9 more in production. So you'll easily have about 18 gateways by the time it's over. Either 18 or 19 up to wait till these are all completed, folks. And here comes the siege, man. This is so very annoying as a Zerg player, because how can you engage that? You just have to take it.
This is also such a great play with the revelation.
Oh, the Vipers.
Oh,
the Vipers. There's Bull, get over here, he says. Mortal Kombat style. And oh, nice fungals. Catches so many of those Void Rays. He can actually pick off those Void Rays, but oh, a lot of feedbacks going. And this one Templar, the Hero Templar, buys enough time for the Void Rays to get away. FireCake nearly turning that around.
That was actually very close, but of course right now, Stardust, he just has the bank. Like, he might lose a couple units here and there, but he might not even care, just because, like, he's sitting at 6,000, 3,000. He has Facebook money.
Yeah, man, this guy has some dirty esports money, man. I mean, oh my goodness, he needs to, like, be, like, taxed or something, man. He's in that upper income bracket, and it looks like Stardust is like, you know what time it is? It's base sniping time!
Indeed, and he will get up to that top or right-hand base, but of course, FireCake kind of already awaiting him with his giant blob of blueness all over the place there.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And this is also a beautiful army for a Zerg player, and it looks like he wants to get a snipe. Wants it here. Over here! Will snipe off a free Tempest. And oh, nice storms when he does catch Colossus as well. And now really Stardust can't really engage with this nice fungal growths. More fungal growths holding the army in place. And this engagement has gone from bad to worse. Pulls everything in. Sniping the more expensive units. And the Broodlords, they're just shooting with sheer abandon. More units getting caught. They're getting pulled. They're getting fungaled. More Stalkers are warping in the background. They're moved in forward. And now the Void Rays with their overcharge ability coming in as well. But there's so much stuff happening right now. So many Corruptors still alive. The Corruptor numbers, they've taken apart everything. And oh my goodness, the ground army is just evaporating. More Stalkers. This is like 19 Stalkers in the background. The Corruptors, they're just taking apart the air. They're taking apart the ground in forms of Colossus, and oh my god, I can't believe it, but I think FireCake, somehow, some way, he's managed to do it here.
How in earth did FireCake just do that? He's still maxed out and Stardust dropped all the way down to 120 supply. Of course, he has the bank to eventually be able to kind of make up for that loss that he just took, and eventually he will be able to rebuild his army. But especially he lost all those key units, the Colossi, the Tempests, and those obviously take a long time to build. And he also doesn't really have too many production facilities to, like, let's say build 3 Colossi at a time or 5 Tempests at a time, like, which would be the rate at which the Zerg actually can reproduce. We have some more Stalkers here in the natural trying to maybe snipe a couple of tech structures here.
They're gonna be trapped! Oh, blink, nice blink, and he was like, no, JK, I'm not trapped. Nice fungal catches the majority of the Stalkers, but oh, actually all of the Stalkers, man! Oh my god, I think Stardust might be a little bit on tilt a little bit, man, because as he did say, he doesn't have production facilities in terms of the higher, more expensive units. He does have a crap ton of gateways right now. Just look at that Zealot army just marching around the map, and this game has just gone from a very passive-ish game to a completely bonkers game on our hands. What a cracker.
Indeed, I don't even know how FireCake just won that engagement.
Oh, the high ground advantage, man. He attacked into the high ground, into a Zerg which was already like sieged up. Everything was in its place, and then the pulls, man, and he got way too aggressive.
Well, hold that thought there, because here we go again.
Nice
Stardust now coming into this action, but of course there are still the carriers.
Get over here! All the Corruptors, get over here, and just the Corruptor, Brood, Viper, Infestor army, and it looks like FireCake, somehow, someway, he's taken the table, he's thrown it out the window, it's done like 50 flips and won a gold medal at the Olympics. And right now he's looking really, really good here, even though Stardust has... He's on more bases, and his bank is still decent.
Well, Stardust, he just took out this base. His bank, as he said, is still decent. But it went from like 7k, 5k to
look at that arc
not even 1k and 1k anymore. And he is still just sitting at 120 supply. Whereas FireCake, he also might not have a bank. But most importantly, he has the army right there. If you take a look at the active forces tab, his army in terms of minerals is 5 times worth as much as the army of Stardust at the moment, and that, I think, speaks for itself. I don't even want to press L for lost units. Let's have a look at lost units, shall we? 33,000 to 18,000 in favor of FireCake. That is just mind-boggling.
It's like this composition, man. You have to respect it, and I just think the ratio and the composition for Stardust, even though it was like a really good army to look at, I just don't think it was enough to really deal with this, because of course there were so many infestors, there were so many vipers, you can't really clump up units, you have to be careful of pickoffs, and oh my god, the mothership! He's making a mothership, Elmo. How often do we actually see this in a pro game?
Not very often, I'm gonna tell you that much. It has been a little bit more used as of lately, but it's still very, very, very rare. Just because of that, this game already in and of itself is amazing. This might maybe be the new game of the year here coming up, guys. Stardust once again extending himself here onto the creep, trying to kind of push it back ever so slightly, maybe fake out some aggression. But his army at the moment I say, is just not big enough. It's just 86 army supply. I don't even know where he has that. That's definitely not all of it. Oh yeah, maybe those kind of Tempests here, they might make up for something. But still, his army right now, if you have a look at the units, we have 6 Tempests, a handful of Stalkers, a couple of High Templars, 3 Archons, against 8 Broodlords, 11 Swarm Hosts, 15 Corruptors, 11 Infestors, and 3 Vipers. Like, how on earth is Stardust planning on breaking this massive army of FireCake at the moment?
Yeah, and the wall of crawl has been set up at the center of the map. I wouldn't be surprised to see this map divided completely in 2 by spores and spines. This is beautiful as a Zerg player. And now the siege has begun at the south base for Stardust. It's quite undefended at the moment, and I think right now FireCake, he's sensing weakness, but he's gonna take his time, man, just to dissect the Protoss that is Stardust.
Indeed, nice play there with the Broodlords kind of putting just ever so slightly pressure
and a backstab by
Stardust
Stardust to the top right-hand side. Oh my goodness, man. Just look at all these HP units.
There are a couple of locusts though, but now of course with the DTs they have a lot of DPS. That base just might very well end up going down as well. Here there's no detection in range. And it will go down. Even if drones are sliding back, no, you don't want to do that, FireCake. You might just very well lose a ton of drones here. While Stardust still in the rebuilding phase here. He wants to reconstruct his army. Oh, the Templars, the Templars.
Oh, storms!
Oh, there are no drones there though. Oh, nice feedbacks nonetheless, but there were no drones. The storm drops not working out, of course, without any drones. More just never-ending funnels just raining down there. Eventually will kill off those Templars. Also the War Prisms do go down. But of course Stardust, he's still working on his Tempest fleet, still producing them out of triple Stargate. And by now he's actually up to 11 Tempests, so he has quite the amount of Tempests. But the thing is, Tempests, they're actually not too good against high numbers of Corruptors.
Yeah, I mean, you need Void Rays really for that, and now the Mamo ship, it's on the field. It's been an age since I've seen one of these, and also something else to point out, even though Stardust has been doing a really, really amazing job at denying those extra 2 expansions at the top right-hand side of the map, at the end of the day, Stardust has taken so much damage that it's like it's kind of evened out.
Yeah, like the thing is, Stardust, as you said, he took a lot of damage, but he has had the greater economy for basically all of the game. He wasn't really in economic needs. He kind of, as weird as it sounds, because he's kind of the wonky position right now, he was able to afford those losses. Just because he had such a ginormous income, and still has, by the way. His income still tripling almost the amount of what FireCake currently generates. And those Tempests seem to be awfully loud. I'm not sure if they are. They definitely seem to be awfully loud.
Yes, they are quite loud, but
I might just turn it down.
You need to adjust for sound levels.
I don't want to turn it down, otherwise I might cause some lag. Anyways, once again, more backstabs, as you like to call it, going on. There are still no drones though, so this Templar is probably very sad. He wanted to storm a couple of drones, but there were none. Those are some changelings right there. And now, once again, Stardust is slowly but steadily pushing on forward with his Void Ray, with his Tempest there. Of course, by now he has 14 of them, 14 Tempests. Obviously, they will pretty much dispose of those Broodlords.
Needs to be careful with these Broodlords.
But here we go, Infest is coming forward. Nice funnels, already catching a couple of those units. But the Tempests, way back from behind, will just snipe them down one after another. And I'm kind of curious to see how FireCake is planning on engaging into this, because those Tempests, they have such a freaking high range. If Stardust doesn't really make doesn't really move into a wrong position, he's not gonna get the abducts there that he would need, because like his Vipers, if they step into the range, they will just die.
Oh, he's gonna try it, making it play it up. No, wisely backs away. I agree with you right now. This is just a game of not only thrones but positioning, man. As we saw with Stardust, he nearly he made a game which looked really in his favor, look really one-sided in the favor of FireCake. So FireCake though has to be careful as well. If he messes up and loses this army, it's game over because of how well a job Stardust has done right now. FireCake, I think he's only mining from like 1 base right now, as the other 4 bases. Actually, no, the other 3 bases are mined out. The third is nearly mined out. Oh, actually, note this base is still a few minerals. Of course, the gases. He's only mining off of 2 gas right now. So oh, it's so smart. Just taking care of some of those probes. You usually see that with Terran, though. But yeah, Stardust, he's freeing up so much supply. Oh my god, he's actually adding 2 more robos, man, just to get up. Crank out Dim Carlo, so that they can just walk with all their swag across the map and melt face.
That is very true. The thing is, FireCake already for quite some time just has been on 40 drones. Not sure if intentional, just because Stardust was doing non-stop harassing. But because of that, he actually has a huge army, 160 supply. But here we maybe go. The Broodlords, obviously, they should not overextend, as they will just fall down ASAP. Ooh, the storm! Nice dodge though by FireCake. That was important.
Yeah. Baited out a few storms. Oh, Revelation goes down. We'll see the army's position. And oh, there's just so many
beautiful Revelation actually there.
Oh,
and
this really good.
Actually, I just want to talk about Revelation in combination with the Tempests. Revelation is actually a super good spell, just because you do not need any observers to grant the vision. But here we go, bundles going down.
Oh, everything is fungal growth. Oh my god, he's pulled everything in. Well, actually only one thing in, but everything got fungled, and oh my god, these storms are just doing terrible, terrible damage. Recall goes back, will only manage to snipe off one Tempest. Oh my god, he looks like he will try and snipe another one, will get one in the end, maybe 2, 3, and he's gonna try and snipe them, will only do damage to them, hull damage. That actually, I thought he would have gotten a lot more there, but this is how high level this game is. I mean, all of these moves have to be very careful, and I do think that FireCake took a lot of damage from those storms, though, Elmo.
Definitely did. He was just not even caring about them. Just, well, F this, I'm just gonna sit in them. But I think on second thought, he's probably regretting that decision by now, because he really took some damage, as you said. Now down to, that is not the army supplies. He's still sitting at 160 supply, but he lost quite some units, especially now down to just 9 infests, and we saw how crucial those fungals can be in the very first engagement, where FireCake actually turned around this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think FireCake got a bit too overeager there, as he did land some really good fungals, and I thought he would just try and... You know, one of the things you could do is just run your units on top of the Protoss army, so that if they do storm, they'll end up storming their own units, and air units do take quite a bit of damage from storm. Still very risky, though. I wouldn't really advise it. I just try and say that bait out the storms, but yeah, end of the day, both of these players playing such high-level StarCraft. This battle of attrition may go on for quite some time.
Indeed, especially with this kind of very, very specific army that we're currently seeing out of Stardust, as his Tempest with that of course immense range, they can just sit back and try to get a couple of snipes. So he's not really forced to kind of fully commit himself, as he kind of just sitting back and shooting from a far distance. Backstab
at the 1 o'clock position, and it looks like this base will go down, but I honestly don't think FireCake cares as much, because he does have at least one mining base, and as long as he doesn't lose his entire army, it should be fine. But oh, the other mining base looks like it's being threatened right now.
The
drones have been actually pulled up.
The Zealots once again also now attacking this base, and it will fall down most likely. There's not really too much that could save this one. And now we are kind of in this position where all of a sudden FireCake, he basically has no income. So as soon as he loses his army and has kind of spent his bank, he's not going to be able to rebuild anything. But here we go, this might be it. Storm's raining down. Nice dodging there. Has to become beautiful thunders actually.
All the High Templars in the front. There we go. Mothership gets pulled in. Throws down some time orbs. Will eventually go down. The Air Force still holds tall, but it looks like there's just too much range DPS right now. All the Corruptors have just been melted, and I think that Stardust may have found a chink in the armor here, Elmo.
Yes, exactly. FireCake now down to just 14 of those Corruptors, and they are so important right now at this point in time. Beautiful storms onto the Broodlords as they are morphing, and he might get a ton of them. He cannot chain them, unfortunately, though. The Tempest still from long range firing down. The Vipers, they cast some blinding clouds. I can't even speak anymore. But it looks like Stardust just has enough. Look at all those Stalkers now coming in as reinforcements. Stardust still sitting strong at 150 supply. More Broodlords coming in, but they will be falling down to all of those Stalkers. Also Tempest still doing so much damage. But look at that, Stardust actually dropping in supply.
Oh my god, I can't believe what I'm witnessing. The last 2 Tempests are going down, and guess what? We've got a lot of Zerglings, and just considering what's on the ground, that's actually a really good choice. And the Queens, they're still standing tall this game. I can't take this game, and oh my god, slow Lings at 47 minutes in a professional StarCraft 2 game. Wow. Oh, and the Corruptors have reinforced. The Lings are there. Blinding Cloud goes down again. Just maximizing the effectiveness. One Broodlord looks like it's about to die. Oh my god. And we see a massive backstab. The top base, the 1 o'clock position will be sacked by the looks of it.
One thing.
Oh my god, look at the wall crawl.
Look at the bank of FireCake. Are you seeing something? I certainly do not see anything. And this is a huge problem right now, as FireCake is starving for money. He barely has any mining, and this might just very well cost him the game right now. Stardust once again up to 150 supply, mostly relying on gateway units right now, but you know what? That's actually perfectly fine, because also FireCake, what does he have? Well, he has 11 Corruptors. They're not gonna do anything for him anymore. The Greater Spire does fall down. He mainly only has Lings at this point in time.
My god, just look at the gas bank as well. Like, sure, you have a handful of minerals, but the gas, man. The key thing that I mentioned, like, about 10 minutes ago, the fact that he couldn't mine gas for so long has come to bite him right there. And, oh my god, I do think that Stardust. This is at this point his game to lose here, Elmo.
I have to agree with you right there. If you look at the production, nothing is currently being produced as pretty much no player has any money. And Stardust right now, he's doing so much damage. FireCake, he just cannot do anything about this because he just doesn't have the money anymore to be able to rebuild those units. And as I said, once he has used up this bank and lost his army, it's probably game over for him. And this is exactly what we are seeing right now.
Yeah, and they're only about to be 21 drones on the field versus 45, and just look at that army of bling right now, man. And oh my goodness, only a handful of swarm hosts, 1 or 2 brood lords, and some blinding clouds need to go down. They do so in the end, but now the broodlords get sniped. The drones come, but there's just not enough here, and it looks like the Golden Armada, after one hell of a ridiculously amazing game number 1, mind you, looks like Stardust has finally been broken here by Stardust.
The swarm hosts are still standing strong. There's no detection, unfortunately, for Stardust, but I think at this point in time he might not even care, because he's just gonna take out those locusts as soon as they spawn. And right now, sure, well, FireCake, he has a couple of Vipers, a couple of Corruptors, but what is he gonna do with them? Abduct Zealots?
Nothing, he's gonna die.
Exactly, that is his problem.
Here comes
right
the revelation! Oh, all the Swarmos have gone down. The Air Zerg just flies by. And there's the GG. Well played to Stardust. 51 minutes of just non-stop. Well, actually, there was non-stop action from Stardust, but after the mid part of the game, it was like, wow.